like he's all in on that. Like, you know what I mean? Going hard. He's screaming like he mic to the mouth the whole time. Like he's clearly giving it up on that. But then you compare that to the like he'll say the first word like just drop the mic.
even him cutting that line off, it's almost like he heard, like, yo, what am I about to say?
Yep. And he was like, and even you can see the conflict, like he was conflicted, like, and then just let it play out the whole time, like,
wow,
being very careful of his words, man, and
even his body language,
yeah. So that's Travis performing the joint, like,
Okay, so you watching that, like, what was the first thing that came to mind for you, like seeing that?
That he's excited. Like, we've always seen Ye super excited. Like, he believes in his art. Like, he don't put it out unless he's 100% like, yeah, I did what I could with this. I believe in it.
Yeah.
The difference between how he performed Follow God and Can't Tell Me Nothing. Like, you could see, like, when he performed Follow God, like, there was a sense like, this is who I am. Like, yeah, this is it.
It's like classic Kanye. He was like, his whole body and soul was into it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then when he performed Can't Tell Me Nothing, it was like he wanted to distance himself from it. Like, he's like, I'm not even... It seemed like a bad memory for him.
But it's like, it's almost like it's a reality, because he has to approach this from so many different perspectives. Like, he has to approach this as a human, and then also as a business, because like the money is not just for him. He's feeding multiple families, and
absolutely,
you know, like he hasn't had a rich young ruler moment where God is like, and I think that's probably what people want him to have, is like, well, you know, if he was really sincere, he would stop selling these $300 sneakers and $150 sweatshirts, and like, that's not necessarily the case. Like,
facts.
The Lord, like, if the Lord didn't call him and say, Kanye, stop,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Like, if anything, he just bought land so he could
4,000 acres. He basically bought a city.
In one of his things he talked about in the Zane Lowe interview was buying that land and building a warehouse there for his stuff.
Facts. And then for the people that say, like, because I've seen a video where like a prominent preacher who does this, you know, kind of speaks against hip hoppers and know, that kind of stuff. No, I mean, I won't go there, but but there's a lot of people, that's the sentiment, is that he should, well, is he going to stop selling those old songs? Is he going to give back the money he made from those? Well, no, we got to think about it. Christ's approach with different people, the story of the rich young ruler holds weight and is special because it's the story of the rich young ruler.
Right, it's his story.
Christ didn't tell everybody that was going to follow him. Hey, sell everything you have and come and follow me.
Yeah.
You know, nah.
So I guess, like, what do you think would make that demographic of people who feel that way? Like, what would make them happy? Like, what are they? I don't know. Like, what are they asking for?
I think what happens is, man, it goes back to human hypocrisy. Like, we want justice for everybody else, but we want mercy for me.
Sure. And
also, some people, if we're being honest, like if we're just going to be honest, I think some people need Kanye's conversion to not be authentic. Because some of us that are even in the church, we haven't yet found our identity in Christ, and that Christ is enough, and that I'm worthy because I'm in him. And so some people still derive their worthiness and their goodness from the fact that they're better than someone else. Well, I ain't married to a porn star.
Right.
I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
I ain't addicted to porn. I
ain't out here slanging this devil music to the kids. Wow.
And they get worthiness from that. And so when you see a guy who was doing all of that, come to Christ and say, you know what, I count that, does the Paul thing, all of that I count as nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, well, wait a minute. I've made my entire living, or like I've derived my worthiness from being better than people like that.
Right.
And so if he's changed, then what? And he's just like me. Then what does that say about me and how good I am and how worthy I am?
Right.
I think, but we got to deal with that.
Yeah, it's a heart check for a lot of us. It's a heart check for everybody.
Yeah.
What it does is it eliminates that thing that we do where we identify who God can and cannot save.
Ooh, yeah.
I personally, that's done that for me.
Yeah.
There are definitely people in my life where I was just like, man, like they not trying to hear the gospel.
Yep.
So I don't even give it to them.
Yep.
So for God to save Kanye and Kanye, the type of person that Kanye presented himself to be,
yeah,
it's given me as a believer, it's given me more of a faith in him to be like, yo, not only does he save people, but he really, really does change people. I'm like rejoicing in that.
We need it. To be honest, we kind of need that. Like a lot of times when you walk with God for a little bit, you can kind of become jaded.
Absolutely.
And you forget who it is that you're dealing with.
Yep.
Sometimes.
Yep.
But that was, man, I'm rejoicing right with you. That was miraculous. It's like he took a guy who was calling himself a god. Like this guy.
I am a god,
epitomized arrogance. Like he was the poster boy for arrogance and narcissism.
Yes.
And God takes that guy and says, I'm going to use him for my glory. It's like, that's the God I fell in love with.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
It's so dope. It's dope, man. I'm rooting for Kanye.
I remember one day we were handing out lunch bags downtown. And we were being really cautious and mindful of who. We didn't just want to go to the homeless shelters and do it for the people sitting on the corner who, didn't have a place to stay. And I remember we were running down and we began to feel a release to like, all right, you're done. You did your work. And one of the ladies that I was with turned to a guy who was sitting at the bus stop and said, here you go, and gave it to him. This was clearly not a homeless man. This was clearly not a poor man. And I think sometimes we do that. Like, we only present the gospel to the poor and downtrodden.
Yep.
My whole thing has been, what does poor mean? Does poor just mean financially? Because to me, if you don't have Christ, your spirit is poor. So seeing her give a lunch bag and minister in that moment to a guy who, by all intents and purposes, didn't need it.
Yep.
Like, that's convicting, and I think we kind of do that sometimes. We want because America loves the underdog story. We want the guy or the person who came from nothing, didn't have anything, and then rises to prominence. Nobody wants the guy who sits high and then comes down low.
Yeah.
The process of coming down low, unless it looks like an undercover boss or something like that. You just uncovered a whole nother thing, which I think we have to deal with church culture. And I hope people come to the event with their A game. Like, let's talk about all of this. All of this, please.
But I think that matters. Yeah. You pointed out something about the underdog, because a lot of times in church culture previously, some of our leadership, we're so busy trying to stand next to the guy that sits high.
Yep.
To build our ministry. I mean, and nobody really wants to talk about that.
Yeah.
But it's like, we have the human heart is an idol factory.
Absolutely.
And we don't lose our idols necessarily just because we come to Jesus.
Yep.
Sometimes we take our idols and just slap a Christian tag on them. So it's like Kanye, like, I don't want to witness to him, but I do want to stand next to him, for a photo op because it looks great for me and gives me a bigger platform. Whole nother can of worms, but I won't open that. I think your point stands, and it was crazy. So and
the audience says, "Oh, he's probably praying for that person." So I get ministry points.
Yep.
For standing next to this guy. Really, my heart is I just want to stand next to Kanye, and I'm a fan.
Yep.